The biggest problem with men today is that I think the world is becoming hyper-competitive. Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. Not just finances, but also female status, everything else. And it's a status game, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for men to play. And that's all women's fault, of course. But it is, because women choose the winners, right? Women choose who the high status males are. So women pretend to give a shit about men. Of course they don't. They give a shit about themselves. And a woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat. And is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like they name all this shit that most dudes are never gonna have. And it's becoming harder and harder, and you end up with people, top G's, who own everything on the planet they could ever possibly wish for, and then you got other guys who have nothing, and there's this large divide. There's no longer any middle ground. You have dudes who can't get any pussy, and then you got dudes who are just blocking girls left, right, and center. And that's what the problem with being a man is today.
Let's all be professionals here. Let's be smart. The Matrix has decided to character assassinate me. They have gotten all of their media establishments, all of their bullets. They fired every fucking bullet at me. Do you think they're not going to sit there and go, what other bullets do we have in the chamber? Who's his primary audience? These guys. Which cuck do we have who obeys every word we say, who also is somehow listened to by some of his guys? Logan. Go to a podcast. Andrew's bad. Whether it was YouTube, whether it was his manager, whether it was his boyfriend, fuck knows who. Someone sat there and said, do this. And they sat there for 2 hours saying, Andrew's so evil. You like a bunch of pussies because they were told to.
I sit and argue with people, I discuss things with people, and they so fervently believe a point. And I say, why do you believe that so much? Like, do you have personal experience? No, but I saw the news. Why do you believe? The news told you X, and now you are desperate. You will sit here for hours arguing that point. A lot of people are completely empty vessels, ready to be programmed. And I try and tell people, listen, to just stop for a second and understand that the things they're telling you to believe are not necessarily for your benefit. The people who make the rules don't make the rules for the benefit of everybody. They make the rules to the benefit of the people who make the rules.
The reason I think they saw me as such a threat is because of the influence I had over the number one demographic they want to keep control over, which is the military-age males, the young males. That's the number one most scary demographic for a government.
For sure.
Because they're the people who cause revolutions. They're the people who are going to go out and die for your army or be the backbone of your slave force. So when you have a whole bunch of young males who sit there and go, we don't want to listen to the government anymore, Tate said they're all full of shit, then they're going to sit there and go, well, this guy has to go. He's not good for society as a whole. It's the young men they're afraid of.
Yeah. Although I'm completely fine with what they've tried to do to me, I've been sitting here thinking, if I was a normal dude, I'd be in serious trouble right now. Like, not just financially, not just your economics, but genuinely how you feel. When I was canceled, when they tried their very, very best to lie about me and then delete me from all social medias and continue to lie about me, when you have the entire world trying to say you're something you're not, or convince the populace that you're dangerous when you aren't, or convince the world that you're a bad person when you know you're not, and a lot of people obviously believe it, then you start getting death threats, your family start getting death threats, and there's safety concerns. And I was thinking, if I was a normal dude living a normal life right now, this would be a serious problem. Luckily, I'm not a normal dude.
People are being extracted for their value, their physical value, whether you're digging holes or carrying garbage or whatever. And your mind is constantly distracted by garbage. It's distracted by TV shows and concerts and clown world. I call it clown world because it's a never-ending circus. All this garbage they distract you with. First it's COVID, and then Putin cures COVID the day he invades and COVID's cured. And it's all just a big scam from head to toe. And the reason I call it the Matrix is because a false reality is being projected onto humanity, and they do that by controlling narratives. If they allowed people to have critical and open conversations about, let's say, COVID, at the height of the pandemic, it never would have lasted 3 years. But the reason, because they censor and delete one entire side of the argument, then you're only left with their version of reality, and they're projecting a reality. And they do that with nearly every subject. There are so many subjects you can't have an open discussion on. And if they only control, if they delete all of one side and only keep one side there, then that's a false paradigm, it's a false reality, and that's what they're doing. And they're convincing people to act in certain ways and do certain things which are not necessarily in their best interest, or necessarily true.